everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gary, and if you just happen to chance upon my channel because you are searching about cooling measures that came out today, 4th of July 2025, then welcome you, brand new viewer. If not, for those that have been following me through, thanks for staying with me for the past 6-7 months. I hope you like my content, and today I decided to do a quick one because we have a change in measure again. Okay, a new cooling measure that has came out just yesterday night, 3rd of July 2025. Same tactics, they always like to deploy MND. They release the information at around 11:45 p.m. so that you don't have time to react, and then some of the bars and fars going on. So just to streamline in today's discussion, I'm going to talk about the cooling measures that just happened. SSD reverting back to 4 years instead of the current 3 years. What are the implications for some of the homeowners, and what are the opportunities that is out there? But before I also begin, okay, special shout out if you have been following my content, or if you happen to find me on Facebook advertisements and then you happen to see that I have this landed upgrading journey. I do have this ultimate guide to landed properties in Singapore, which I actually detailed some of the steps that you can consider if you're upgrading to a landed, be it some of the roadblocks, be it some of the challenges that you might face, and also how to do some interesting financing methods that helps you to overall upgrade smoothly and carefully to your landed property. So if you want a guide like this, feel free to contact me. My WhatsApp number is below. And also, not forgetting, if you are a first-time homeowner or you are looking to buy your first house, probably a 1-bedroom to kickstart your whole home journey. Okay, I also have a 1-bedroom condos guide about 1-bedroom condos in Singapore, so feel free to reach out to me. I actually detailed some of the comparison, like should we go for new, should we go for sub-sale, should we go for resale, and where are some of the opportunities, and also a case study to explain to you how one of my friends actually kickstarted the journey 3 to 4 years ago, and today they are happily in a 2-bedroom condominium in the city fringe. Okay, so that aside, without further ado, let's go on to today's topic, which I'm supposed to touch on. Cooling measures 2025 again, reverting back to pre-2017 seller stamp duty, 4 years holding period with an additional of 4%. So this is where I started my career in 2016 when we were just fresh new RES, right? That was the standard seller stamp duty that we are going through in 2016 onwards. It was only after 2017 that the government start to change the measures instead of 4 years to a 3 years holding period. However, today in 2025, the government decided to revert back to 2017 seller stamp duty. Okay, so in this discussion, of course, I like to talk about we came a long way for cooling measures. It has been since 2009. So I have an example to show you what has happened in the past decade, almost 2 decades of cooling measures. Then, of course, my views on this cooling measure preemptive approach when we look at real estate in Singapore, and how I have helped some of the leads to realize this before this cooling measure actually kick off. And thirdly, also for home buyers or investors, what is the implication for you, or what should we take note of? And for homeowners, not forgetting my homeowners, okay, what should we do in such a current juncture, or is there a change in strategy that we should be taking? And finally, of course, of every crisis, there must be, of course, some opportunities. So where can we spot this opportunity again? And also to touch on why I think the government has such a measure in place, and what do they look for in the future. Okay, so number one, we came a long way. Cooling measures has been with us since 2009, when the market starts to pick up, especially in 2010. If those seniors that has been very veteran in Singapore property market, residential per se, you have already experienced and you have seen before 2009 how the market is like without measures, and after 2009 how the market is like with cooling measures, and right up to the last one we look at in the private market is whereby the ABSD in 2023 was raised for foreign buyers, and today we have a new one coming in which is the reintroduction of reverting back the cooling measures to pre-2017 period from a percentage point of 12% for the first year to 16% for the first year, and also extending it to one more year, so your holding period has to be for 4 years. Okay, so next, my views for this, I would say that actually I have mentioned this to my client way before. In fact, at the start of 2025, if you have consulted me, if you have been with me since 2025 start of the year, and even last year to November, December 2024, I have mentioned to some of my homeowners who are on board with me that potentially cooling measures might come about. Okay, this is something that I have foresee, and it is kind of like a delayed cooling measure, as I feel that it should have happened when there was a surge. Remember in November 2024, there was a surge in purchase. There were like 1,500 buyers who bought a place during that period. So I felt that that was a period whereby you can see in that quarter the price index would have jumped because there was a new acceptance in the new sale prices. And then again, nothing happened, and it was very quiet in the last 6 months. So it could, disclaimer, could it be because of what has happened in the last 3 months ago when there was a leading on to elections in Singapore? So this is just a thought. So now that elections are done already, okay, and the new party is formed already, so I guess it is time to look at how to make sure that our market remains buoyant, prices remains affordable, and don't run too quickly, especially when we have quite a number of launches coming up from this month, July onwards, all the way until until end of the year. Of course, having said all this, this is how I conduct my work lah. A bit more preemptive, earlier onset, mentioned to my clients that if there's a change in measure, what should we be doing at the point of time, so that we do not have to create any knee-jerk effect. We do not have to scramble when something like this happens. So of course, to do this video, I'm here to share with some of the buyers. This has been done already. Some of the buyers, some of the homeowners, if this has been done already, it has happened, what can we do when the government actually throws such a curveball at us? And is there really a cause for very much concern? Or is this actually something good down the road in the future? Because we all know in Singapore, it's very hard to do speculative purchases. Gone are the days whereby you can trade options, swap options the next day. Your minimum holding period it's gonna be a 3 years kind of holding period. So extending it to one more year, what is the real implication? We can see subsequently. Okay, so but before I go into that, I also realized that some people that might be new to the market, might be new to private market in Singapore, private property market in Singapore, just to give you a shout out for misconception. Okay, so when we talk about holding period, okay, from 3 years to 4 years, we are not referring to collection of keys. We are not referring to after TOP of the condominium. The holding period in the private market, when we are talking about, is the day you exercise. The date is referring to the exercise date of purchase. Refers to the exercise date of purchase. Okay, so if you are buying a new launch, okay, so it will start, the seller stamp duty will start from the day you exercise your sales and purchase agreement. Okay, so if you're buying a resale private property, it starts from the day you exercise the option to purchase given to you from the seller. And whereas for HDB owners, okay, it is not affected by this rule. They just need to follow the HDB minimum occupation period, or MOP, which is a very common lingo in the market. Okay, so just to give everyone a bit of clarity, give some newcomers a bit of clarity. Okay, so essentially this means that if you have a building under construction property, okay, so your seller stamp duty is actually running concurrently with the construction of your property. So this creates the impact that we are experiencing now, because there is quite a bit of people that are selling their place, turning their place around after TOP when they collect keys, and this causes the price to move a bit too fast, and that is where the government also took this into consideration and decided that okay, we'll extend it one more year to 4 years SSD as of 4th of July 2025. So if you are a homeowner or investor, if you see this news, what is it in it for you? Okay, let's try to decipher. I think impact wise for genuine home buyers or own stay upgraders, this adjustment aims to promote a longer term holding period. Okay, obviously, so if you are buying a resale to live in, our private market is actually very healthy and the prices remains very stable, and especially the government wants it for the long term. And this is to me very important, especially if you are genuine home buyers, own stay or upgraders. You don't really buy the place and you tell me that so far I'm mad lah. You don't tell me that 3 years later I'll let it go, 4 years later I'll let it go, because sometimes these upgraders, their concern is to target a certain primary school, convenience for their kids to go to school, so they're easily in it for the next 6, 7 or even 10 years, or they want to be near their parents for caregiving purposes, so they're going to be there for a long haul. So essentially I think changing this seller stamp duty to 4 years does not create too much impact if you are a home buyer for own stay or for upgrading. At the most, I mean, recently I also have a case. My buyer bought in and then it is due to exercise in August, yet she also say it's fine, I'm gonna stay here, Gary. It's only going to be almost a long haul period that I'm going to stay here, so it doesn't impact me at all. Okay, so no, not much of a big hoo-ha for now, especially. Okay, I think this form of cooling measure is actually a less aggressive kind of cooling measure as opposed to loan to value ratio, which potentially could increase your down payment, additional cash outlay, or by changing the TDSR rule. That's another way that could restrict your loan qualified, and that's also very more aggressive as compared to changing the seller stamp duty. Okay, so especially so also when general household income is still gradually rising across the board in Singapore. So essentially if you are buying for own stay or upgrader, I think it's fine, no cause of concern. Continue your shopping. Maybe you can get a good deal out of it, not so sure, because I'm sure some of the sellers that you have met probably bought something else also and they want to move on. Okay, so how about for investors? So if you are a potential investor, you don't mind the original 3 years holding period, but now it becomes 4 years holding period. So I feel that in such a case, maybe you should increase your investment budget by a bit, just to buffer the additional 12 to 18 months to align with the 4th year of SSD, and which is what I always explain to my some of my homeowners also. When we are adopting such an approach, we should also account for the TOP period, whereby there might be a surge or increase in number of units for sale. So let's bundle in, let's have another what do you call that word off my mind, I can't remember, have another layer in to account for some rental during the TOP period, so that we can wait for the supply to dwindle down, some of the units being sold, before we put ours up in the market for sale again. So this is how we can mitigate, and this also comes with experience from selling TOP houses, and this is what I will always be more upfront to share with my homeowners when we are talking about big sum of money and big sum of investment, right? Okay, so next, if you are a homeowner at this period, should you be of any concern? Should you is there gonna be lesser buyers in the market? Okay, is there gonna be a bit of a hoo-ha? Okay, to me, I think yes, maybe there'll be a bit of lag, a bit of a short-term slowdown. Anyway, resale has been a bit of a slower side in the past 2 to 3 months, so there might be a bit of this continuing of a slow take up rate, especially when we as salesperson have to go out and re-educate some of the buyers, some of the investors, to give them assurance that the market is still expected to continue to grow slowly. And why government has such a measure? Because they realize that prices has been probably rising too fast, and they also want to have a preemptive approach before the new launches come out and another level of new benchmark prices is being set. Okay, so also there's no need to worry for sure for sellers, because historical data has shown that changing of the SSD does not leads to any crash in the market. Okay, it just creates a bit of a slow or lag, then prices will continue to form. Okay, and I think essentially, like I mentioned, our government seems to be more concerned with the prices running too far ahead, because I think everyone also forgot about one thing. Our interest rate has been dropping aggressively over the past 6 months. If you have bought the property at the start of last year, November, August period, sorry, November, October period, versus you see your interest rate right now, there's actually a significant reduction of percentage by almost 1 percentage point, if I'm not wrong. And, and this would also make it easier for buyers to come back into the market. So if they don't do any cooling measures to create some distraction, then I think a lot of buyers are very ready to come in for the next upcoming launches, which are also equally exciting. If you have watched my video for the last few, if you have watched my last few videos, you'll know which one are the ones that I highly recommend as well. Okay. Not just that, if you can see from my slide also, latest Singapore 6 months T-bill cut off yield at 1.85%, which has been declining for as consecutively 8 issuance. Okay, so this means that actually the take-up rate for T-bills and bonds will start to drop, and as the take-up rate for T-bills and bonds starts to drop, right, there would be generally a potential influx of liquidity or cash back into the real estate market. And this is very aligned, because I have a client that was a bit more ahead of the curve than us general. Last year she has been talking about it. So November she bought a resale place through me, and then she also having the thought that this time, as interest rate drop, natural occurrence, T-bills will also go down, bonds will also go down. So she has already secured herself a resale property for rental income, so on and so forth. So I think there would be this group of people out there that is gradually going to take action in the next 2 to 3 months, and henceforth, or even next half of the year, and henceforth the government has actively been more watchful of the market. Okay, and what can you do as a seller? As mentioned earlier, if you are already marketing your place, you've been marketing your place for a while already, I think in hindsight, it's probably to price your unit more sensitively and more reasonably to attract genuine buyers. Because like I said earlier, genuine buyers are still around, those that are looking for own stay. If you have identified that the buyer is here for own stay and not like an investor, I think we can possibly price it more attractively, because end goal is likely you're going for an upgrading, you're going for a bigger unit. I think the focus should be on the overall gains, and instead of just focusing on the selling price for most of the home sellers out there. Okay, so if you want to have a better understanding of how to do this, or what do I mean by the overall gains, okay, I have taken families from one property to the second to their third already as a form of progression. So I'm more than happy if you want to reach out and talk to me. My contact number, WhatsApp, is in the comments in the link below, so feel free to reach out to me. Okay, so finally, on to the last part, whereby what is the opportunity, what are the real opportunities that is really available in the market. Okay, so if you look at this particular slide that I have, most importantly is, I think the key thing is, if you look at if you push your timeline forward to 2028 and 2029 and onwards, you can see that there is really a significant drop in the supply of new private home supply. And this is where I think our 4 years, this is how I look at it, our 4 years SSD will just nice tie in, because this year is 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. So you can sell in 2029. And when you can sell in 2029, just nice, this would increase the supply of resale homes, or rather the newer TOP homes into the 2029 period, and henceforth increasing the supply in 2029 period, so that we do not have a supply problem. That actually, if you turn back time, some of the real estate, some of the people in the market has been mentioning about undersupply coming in post-COVID, because developers are not buying land. So I think all in all, the government is trying to plug the problem of the future, whereby 2029 there is a really lower supply of there's really a lower supply of newly constructed homes. Okay, and henceforth, whatever you buy now, your SSD is later in 2029, then you pump into the supply during 2029. And also, of course, not forgetting to tie in with the next group of HDB upgraders, which is our favorite pool of people that is going to buy into the private property market. This year and next year, the current MOP supply is very low due to COVID period, whereby constructions are a bit slower. But if you look fast forward in 2027, 2028, there will be a bumper crop of HDB MOP, and I think the government also wants to have supply for this group of people, especially those that are tail end of 2028, to let go of their house, and then when they're ready to buy in 2029, this group of buyers that currently are holding the SSD will just nice fit into this group. Okay, so if you find this discussion a bit of complex, feel free to contact me. I can explain to you in greater details also. And if not, what is the real meaning of this, or what is the real opportunity, having to have mentioned the earlier part? Okay, is of course, if you have followed me through my tariff video also, and I always like to mention to my viewers also, we always must think of who is the one that is having the most risk in such a situation when there's a cooling measure. Is it the resale owner that has only one property, or is it the developer that has already locked in the price, or has already locked in the land for the next 2 to 3 years, having a lot of units to let go and sell? And if you follow me through, yes, developers usually at this kind of juncture, when there is a cooling measure, they want to price their units more sensitively also, so that they can start moving some units and get some percentage sold to create some assurance and confidence in the project itself before they start to increase the price again. So if you ask me, stay tuned. I think the next few launches, having this cooling measure as a reminder to the developer would be quite exciting, and I'll be talking about it in my next few videos as well. So stay tuned. Let's hope that really the developers will capture this and bring in a bit more attractive pricing to the home buyers. If not, this is the end of my video. I hope that this video gives you a bit of clarity on what is it to expect for the new cooling measure that just came out 4th July 2025. And if you really want to have a discussion with me, definitely feel free to contact me, as of some of the viewers that have done so in the last 1 to 2 months. More than happy to discuss with you about your property plans, how to do a bit more prudent planning. And of course, if you want to have a grab of my ebooks regarding lender upgrade, regarding your first home, buying your first condo, 1 bedroom, feel free to let me know. If not, very happy to see you all in my next video. Stay tuned. Okay, thank you guys. Bye bye.